Hi everyone. This isn't just a story. It's a revelation of a hidden truth. Part 1. The calm before the storm. Have you ever wondered what happens when two worlds collide? When histories that have shaped entire nations come to a head in one defining moment. It's June 2025, and the world stands on the edge of its seat, eyes fixed on two ancient powers, Iran and Israel. These nations, with histories rich in culture, struggle, and triumph, are about to face off like never before. But how do we get here? For centuries, these two nations have danced around each other, their stories intertwined like the threads of a grand tapestry, each thread holding secrets of power, fear, and ambition. It's a tale of pride, politics, and the will to survive. And now, it has brought them to this point, the brink of war. In the darkest of times, the courage to fight becomes the light that leads the way. Tensions have been rising for months. Iran, with its rich cultural past and strategic influence, has been increasingly vocal in its demands, challenging the global order. On the other side, Israel, with its unwavering resolve and modern-day strength, has been preparing not just militarily, but emotionally, for the storm they know is coming. But what exactly is at stake? What makes this conflict so monumental? In the heart of this struggle, the fate of millions hangs in the balance. Both sides are poised, waiting for that first spark. And we're all asking the same question: what happens next? Part 2. The rising storm. As the storm clouds gather, the world feels a sense of foreboding. It's more than just a change in the weather. There's an unmistakable shift in the atmosphere. Something heavy stirs in the hearts of millions, an impending force, like the build-up before a great eruption. The first move has been made. The clock is ticking. In the darkened corridors of power, hidden from the eyes of the world, decisions are being made, decisions that will alter the course of history. Iran, with its ancient pride and a leadership that has faced decades of international scrutiny, steps forward. They have always been a nation with a fierce will to survive, to stand tall in the face of adversity. This is no exception. With a single bold move, Iran sends a message that echoes across the globe, a message that demands attention, a message that cannot be ignored. And in response, Israel, unflinching, determined, and with a military might that has been forged through years of conflict, prepares for what is to come. Their resolve is unwavering. This is more than just a skirmish. It is a test of their very identity. Israel is not just fighting for its survival. It is fighting to prove that its spirit is indomitable, that the sacrifices of generations before have not been in vain. When the storm is at its fiercest, the true warriors rise to the occasion. This is no longer a mere military clash. This is the spirit of two nations coming to the fore. Two forces, each fueled by the power of their ancestors, are poised for a battle that is as much about pride as it is about survival. The stakes have never been higher. Iran, with its rich Persian history, is a nation that has seen its share of invasions, revolutions, and upheavals. But in its heart, it has always carried the same unwavering belief: the right to exist, to lead, to define its future. On the other side, Israel stands with the weight of millennia of history on its shoulders. A people who have been scattered to the winds, only to return to their homeland stronger, more determined than ever. Their journey is one of resilience, of surviving not just attacks, but the very essence of hatred and prejudice. Through every trial, through every tribulation, they have risen. Now, They face a battle not just for their land, but for their future. This is more than just a war. It is the beating heart of two ancient civilizations clashing. It's a battle not only for land, but for legacy. For one nation, the battle is about preserving an identity, a culture that has weathered the storms of history. For the other, it's about defending a homeland that has been built on sacrifice, blood, and the eternal desire to be free. The world watches closely, waiting for the next move. In every corner of the globe, people are holding their breath. What will happen next? The adrenaline is palpable. The anticipation is thick, like the air before a thunderstorm. The world is on the edge of its seat, watching as these two mighty nations prepare for the clash that could reshape the Middle East, and with it, the world. In every battle, it is not the size of the army that matters, but the strength of the will behind it. Iran is not just sending troops in a battle, they are sending a statement, a message that they will not back down, that their resolve is as strong as the ancient walls of Persepolis, that their spirit will never be broken. For Israel, every move is calculated, every strategy refined through decades of experience. They know the cost of failure. They know the weight of history that rests upon their shoulders. This is not just about winning a battle. This is about ensuring that their legacy, their future, remains secure. Both sides understand that this is more than just a conflict. It is a defining moment in their histories. The stakes are too high. The legacy of their ancestors hangs in the balance. And with every passing second, the world moves closer to the unknown, closer to the day when history will be written in the blood of warriors. The storm will come, but it is the heart of the warrior that will weather it. In the quiet before the storm, there is no retreat. There is no turning back. This is the moment that will define the future. For Iran, this is the moment to reclaim its pride, to prove to the world that it is a force to be reckoned with. For Israel, this is a moment to defend everything they have fought for, to ensure that their children inherit a legacy of peace, of survival, of strength. The forces of history are at work here, and each nation moves with the weight of centuries behind them. But in the end, the question remains, who will stand tall when the storm finally breaks? This is not just a battle for land. It's a battle for the future, for the soul of two nations, and for the hearts of their people. The storm is rising. The world is waiting, and the warriors are ready. Part 3, the battle begins. The time has come. There's no turning back. War has broken out. The first strikes have been launched, and the world holds its breath, caught in a moment of tense stillness, as though the planet itself is waiting to see what will come next. The sound of missiles fills the air, their shrill whistling cutting through the heavy silence like the final note of a death march. Explosions roar in the distance, sending shockwaves through the very earth beneath. The cries of warriors, brave and fierce, echo across distant lands, carrying with them the weight of the moment. But this isn't just a battle of weapons. This is a battle of wills, of pride, and of hearts. This is where two ancient legacies collide, where history, fate, and destiny intertwine. It's the breaking point where survival, love for one's people, and unyielding spirit are all tested in the crucible of war. When warriors face each other on the battlefield, it is not just the strength of their arms that counts, but the strength of their hearts. As the dust of the initial strikes settles, the aftermath is a sight few can endure without feeling the weight of its sorrow. There is devastation everywhere. The earth is scarred, the sky clouded with the smoke of destruction, and the silence that follows the violence feels like a promise of more to come. But amidst the chaos, something unexpected happens. The warriors on both sides, hardened by their individual journeys and their deep-rooted sense of purpose, refuse to back down. With fire in their eyes and resolve in their hearts, they stand tall, ready to face what's next. What was meant to be a moment of swift destruction, a show of power to shake the world, becomes something much more profound, a trial of endurance, a fight that transcends borders, ideologies, and expectations. This is no longer just about territory or political power. This is a test of the spirit, of how far one will go to defend what they love, how far they are willing to sacrifice. The battlefield becomes a theater of defiance, where the most primal emotions surge, where the rawest form of courage emerges from the deepest parts of the human soul. It's no longer about tactics or strategy alone. It's about heart. It's about the fierce will to protect one's family, one's culture, and one's legacy. On the front lines, every soldier knows this truth deeply. This is more than just a fight for survival. This is about something far more personal. Every soldier, every warrior, is carrying something on their shoulders, something heavy with meaning and sacrifice. They are fighting for more than just their nations. They're fighting for their families, for their loved ones who wait back home with hope in their hearts. They are fighting for their futures, for the dreams of the generations that will follow them. In each strike, each bullet fired, there is not only destruction, but also the preservation of something sacred. The emotional stakes couldn't be higher. These are not faceless soldiers. These are mothers' sons, fathers' daughters, cousins, friends, neighbors, and leaders. They are bound by a common thread, duty. For Iran, every soldier that fights is driven by the memory of their ancestors, by the legacy of the Persian Empire, a civilization that once shaped the world. For Israel, every warrior is shaped by the scars of the past, by the horrors their ancestors endured, and the burning desire to ensure that their homeland remains safe. In the midst of all this, the world watches. With every passing second, every piece of news, the world stands at the edge of its seat, unsure of what will come next. Will these nations clash in an all-consuming fire, or will the flames of war be extinguished by the sheer will of those who dare to dream of peace? The world, unsure, waits for that next strike, the next moment that will tip the scales and shape the future for generations to come. The true strength of a warrior is not measured by how many enemies they defeat, but by how much they are willing to sacrifice for what they love. As the battle intensifies, the stakes grow ever higher. The front lines become a place where heroism is born, where legends are made in the heat of combat. And with each passing moment, the realization hits the world with full force. This is not just a war. It's a defining moment. A moment that will be written into the history books as a turning point, where the fate of nations was shaped not by the size of their armies, but by the courage of those who fought for what they believed in. This battle, this struggle, is more than just a fight over borders. It's a fight for something much greater, for the soul of these nations, for the preservation of their identities, for the legacy of their people. Every bomb that falls, every soldier who falls, carries with it a piece of the future. For in war, there are no real winners. There are only survivors, those who endure the storm and emerge from it with scars, with stories to tell, and with hearts full of hope for what lies ahead. And as the dust settles on this dark and turbulent chapter, one truth will remain. The strength of these warriors will echo for generations to come, etched in the hearts of all who witnessed this monumental struggle. In this fight, we are not merely watching history unfold. We are witnessing the raw, unfiltered emotion of a people who will stop at nothing to ensure that their spirit, their identity, and their future are never erased. This is their battle, their fight for legacy, and the world is bearing witness. Part 4, the turning point. Just when it seems like everything is lost, when the weight of the world feels like it will collapse under the tension of war, hope rises from the most unexpected of places. Amidst the ruins of cities shattered by bombs, the cries of the fallen, and the smoke that clouds the very air, there's a moment of silence, a pause in the storm. In that stillness, a realization begins to take shape, growing like a seed in the hearts of those who thought they had already seen the worst. The leaders, standing in the wake of devastation, begin to see something they had once overlooked. There must be more than just violence. There must be more than fighting, than destruction. There must be something greater, something deeper that transcends the bitterness of this war. A call for peace. It's a call that rises not from the politicians, not from the generals, but from the people, those who have borne the brunt of the conflict. The mothers, the fathers, the sons and daughters who have seen their worlds torn apart, who have felt the pain of loss so deeply that their hearts can no longer bear it. They, too, understand that this war is not just between two nations. It is a war within their very souls. Victory is not in winning the battle, but in the strength to rise above and seek peace. Both Iran and Israel, scarred and battered, their economies in ruins, their spirits fractured, find themselves facing the same truth. There are no winners in a war like this. The land is scarred, but so are the hearts of the warriors. The pride of the nations may stand tall, but in the wake of bloodshed, what remains? What is the price of victory when the soul of a nation is shattered? The leaders of both sides stand at the precipice, looking out over the battlefield, realizing the same painful truth. No amount of power, no amount of weapons can heal the wounds of war. This is the moment that changes everything. This is the turning point. In a world consumed by chaos, when the noise of war deafens the ears, there is still a glimmer of hope. A chance, however small, for both nations to heal. A chance to rise above the ashes and rebuild. Not just the cities, but the very essence of their people. It is not the weapons that hold the true power in this moment. It is the hearts of those who still believe in something greater than war. It is in the willingness of both nations to stand strong, not just for their past or their present, but for their future. The people of Iran, with their ancient heritage and proud history, are weary, but they are also resilient. They know the cost of survival, of standing against the world and demanding respect. They have known struggle, and they have known triumph. But they also know the unbearable weight of loss, and in that weight, they find a desire for something more than endless conflict. The people of Israel, too, have known hardship, having faced the darkest hours of history. Their nation was born from the fires of tragedy, from the depths of despair. But in those flames, they forged a spirit that could never be extinguished. And now, even as they stand among the ruins, they understand one thing with certainty. Their strength is not just in the walls they build, but in the love they hold for one another. And in this moment, as the dust begins to settle, a truth emerges. It's clear now. The war may be over, but the journey is far from finished. What remains is not just the aftermath of battle, but the challenge of healing, of reconciliation, and of rebuilding the shattered pieces of both nations. There is no easy way forward, no simple path to peace. The wounds of war run deep, and the scars will remain long after the last shot is fired. But it is in the rebuilding that the true strength of a nation is revealed. The people of Iran and Israel are not defined by the wars they have fought, but by their ability to rise from the ashes of those wars. They are not defined by the battles they have won, but by the peace they are willing to fight for. This is the new battle, a battle not for territory, not for pride, but for peace, for healing, for a future that no longer involves bloodshed, but understanding. It is a battle of hearts, not of weapons. And though the scars of war will remain, it is the love for one's people, one's family, one's future that will guide them toward the future. As both nations begin to pick up the pieces, to sift through the rubble of their past, they realize that the greatest victory is not in war, but in the ability to forgive, to rebuild, and to look toward a brighter, more unified tomorrow. It is in this new strength, this new hope, that they will find their true power. The battle is over, but the real war, the war for peace, has only just begun. This is not the end of the story, but the beginning of a new chapter. The future of both Iran and Israel lies in the hearts of the people. Those who dare to believe that despite the darkness of the past, the light of peace can still break through. And so they rise, together. Part 5. The Legacy of June 2025. The world looks on, its gaze heavy, as the aftershocks of this monumental conflict ripple across the globe. The reverberations of the battle that raged through June 2025 will be felt for years to come, leaving its indelible mark not just on the lands where the war was fought, but on the hearts and minds of everyone who witnessed it. It will be remembered as a turning point, a clash of two ancient civilizations, a moment in history that reshaped the global landscape. But as with every great struggle, there is something to be learned from the ashes. Every battle teaches us something about ourselves, about humanity, and about the strength of the human spirit. And in this battle, the lesson is clear. It is not the size of the army that determines victory, but the strength of the soul that stands behind it. The soldiers on both sides were not just fighting for power or territory. They were fighting for something much deeper, something that transcends politics, culture, and geography. They were fighting for their people, for their future, for their identity. And in that struggle, we see the true power of the human spirit, the unwavering, unyielding strength to survive, to endure, and to rise again. June 2025 was not merely a conflict between two nations. It was a testament to the resilience, the courage, and the power of the human spirit. In the face of devastation, both Iran and Israel were tested, not just in terms of military strength, but in the very essence of their humanity. In the midst of destruction, the desire to rebuild, to find peace, and to heal emerged as the true victory. It was a victory of the heart, a triumph of the spirit that cannot be measured by bombs or bullets, but by the strength of a people's will to overcome. As the world moves forward from this pivotal moment, the question remains, what will we learn from this? What lessons will we carry with us as we face the challenges of tomorrow? Will we continue to be defined by our differences, or will we embrace the strength that lies in our shared humanity? The battle of June 2025 has ended, but the story is far from over. The legacy of that war will not be found in the rubble of shattered buildings or the scars left on the land. It will be found in the hearts of those who lived through it, in the stories they tell, in the lessons they pass down to the generations that follow. It will be found in the courage to rise above hate, to choose peace over conflict, and to honor the strength that comes from unity, not division. For the people of Iran and Israel, the road ahead will not be easy. The scars of war will remain, and the memories of lost loved ones will never fade. But in the rebuilding, in the reconciliation, there lies a new strength. The true power of these nations, of all nations, does not lie in their armies, their borders, or their politics. It lies in the hearts of their people. And it is in that strength, that unbreakable will, that the future will be forged. The question we must all ask ourselves is not whether we will face more battles in the future, but how we will face them. Will we continue to repeat the mistakes of the past, or will we learn the most important lesson of all? That true victory lies not in defeating our enemies, but in understanding and overcoming the very forces that divide us. The world has witnessed a great struggle, but what will we make of the lessons learned? That is the true test. It is not the size of the army that determines victory, but the strength of the soul that stands behind it. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.